Yay! Hello. Good evening. How are you, sir? Oh, now I can't hear you.
How's that? I muted my mic. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's better. How are you?
Good. It's too many years of being a host, so you automatically hit the cough button before while the intros are rolling.
Yes, I know.
Good. Everything is great. Thank you for inviting me on the show tonight. I'm excited.
I'm excited. Thank you so much. I love getting people on that. I hope this doesn't offend you, but one of the OGs, one of the original gangsters. And
listen, you know what? When Moses gave me the 10 commandments, there were 15, and 5 of them were about paranormal investigating. Those are the ones I dropped. I'm sorry, guys. That's the way it works.
I love it. So I'm ecstatic to have you on. And I want to get into everything that you're into because I love your podcast. I want you to talk about that. I think it's great. I love the name of it. Black cats are my favorite. So I love the name of your podcast. So
you know where that came from? Seriously?
Yeah.
There used to be a bar here in the Western New York area, and it was called the Cat Lounge.
Oh.
And it used to have like this crappy back room that was just dark and dank, and they had these big overstuffed chairs in it and stuff. And we used to hang out there. And I don't know how many years ago, probably close to 20 years ago, when I originally put the podcast together. What do I want to call it? It was Cat Lounge. Well, Black Cat Lounge just fit right perfectly. And I had worked at it as a theater of the mind originally, with a background track with people kind of like mulling around, and you hear like the glasses tinkling and stuff. But I had to take all of that off because people actually were trying to come and look for the Black Cat Lounge here in the area so they could watch the podcast being taped. So I had to come clean. So that's how that came about.
I love it. I do want to get into the podcast. But for those that are watching that don't know who you are or might not know too much about you, I want to kind of start at the beginning a little bit, how you got into paranormal stuff and where your journey has taken it, because you've been in this for quite some time now, a lot longer than a lot of us, and which I'm very thankful for, you know what I mean? Like I said, I being a little podcaster, I've only been on for 7 years, but I look up to people like you, Dave Schrader, people that have had these podcasts going for a long time and been in the field for a long time, So if we can just start at the beginning and then we'll work our way up.
In the beginning, there was light. No. I don't know.
And then Moses handed you the 10 commandments.
You know how? Yeah, pretty much. You know what? I'm just a guy from Western New York, and I live out. I was born and bred here. And I was brought up Rome. Actually, I am not Polish. I speak a little bit of it. My wife is like Russian Jewish, and I was brought up and I'm Irish, Scotch Irish, and German. I was brought up in a Polish parochial school. That's originally. I spent 8 years doing that, but during the summers we would go visit my father's family, and my father's family. They were in the Lilydale Assembly here in Western New York. They were all spiritualists. And I spent a lot of time out there as a kid, and in summers and weekends. It was great. And that's what really stuck. That is what stuck. I just thought it was an amazing religion, and I followed it. And I think that
Lilydale, is Lilydale a place that people can visit too? Because I've heard
yes,
people
yes.
going to Lilydale.
Lilydale's a little, excuse me. The Lilydale Assembly is an enclave of spiritualists that live in like a 1 mile radius, and it's open all year round. But during the summer, you have to pay a fee to get in there. But they have so much stuff going on there. They have during the season, they call it the season. I think it's July, end of June, July, and August. They have uh, 2 open galleries. Galleries. So they have a gallery service, and they have a religious service during the day. They have a meditation. They have healing, services and stuff all day long. So plus they also have different classes, and then of course they have registered mediums there that you can go and book a reading with. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was great. So I think I was introduced there right around 19. I hate to even say this. 1972. I think I was about 9 years old or 10 years old. So I was a kid then, and it was amazing. It was amazing. And let me tell you something. I'll tell you, this is one of my favorite stories because, like in eighth grade, 7th or 8th grade, I had a nun that wanted us to go and write a essay on what we did during our summer vacation. So while everybody is talking about going to the beach and going doing this and doing that, I'm writing, oh, I got a message from my great great grandfather at the and I went for a healing here and there, and then I attended a children's seance, and and
Wow.
needless to say, I got a little note that said, "Giving this to your parents, Mr. and Mrs. Shaw. Would you come in for a conference?" But my father pretty much told him that, well, that's my religion, so don't be messing around with it. And
Yeah.
basically the nun said, well, that's okay, but tell Tim not to be like talking to everybody about it. So the minute my father said that, I went back to school and told everybody about it. But I took classes, Lyceum, which is the Sunday school, for a lot of years there. And we first started, just basic stuff, and then we worked, and of course, I mean, it was at that time it was sponsored, or I shouldn't say sponsored. It was run by the National Spiritual Association of Churches. Now there's several different spiritualist denominations that are associated there, but back then, you couldn't use like any kind of devices. You couldn't use any tools of divination, that sort of thing. Everything had to be pure mental mediumship. So later on, as time went on, I discovered all these great things. And
Now, how old are you at this point when you're going through all this stuff? I mean, I knew you were 9 when it.
Probably about 12 or 13 years old.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, probably. I used to go out there up until, I'm trying to think, probably about like 19 years old, 18, 19 years old. My friends and I used to drive out there just, on weekends or during the day after, after we had graduated from high school or whatever, and we would just hang out there, because it was just a cool place to hang out.
Now, were you the only one of your friends though that was into the metaphysical?
Oh no, I had several. I have a friend, my friend Brian, who's now passed on. He was into it. We used to go and spend, like, as kids. This is how kind of warped I am. As kids, we used to go and camp out in their backyard, in my friend Brian's backyard, in this camper. And I used to go and have a bicycle that had a basket on it. And in the basket, I'd have a sleeping bag, snacks, and a Ouija board. So we would be messing with the Ouija board back then, So I mean, this is all stuff that, it was great. But you got to remember to put it in context. The New Age was really hitting hard. That New Age, the Age of Aquarius, and all that was really going, and it was starting to become more mainstream.
Yeah.
Then you had like Kolchak, the Night Stalker. Oh my God, that's who I wanted to be when I grew up. I guess I'm pretty close to that now, But Kolchak, the Night Stalker, that was great. You had the movie of the week where it was always a horror movie. You had, like, at 11:30, I think on Friday nights, you had all the old horror movies and stuff. So I mean, I literally grew up on this genre and in the religion. So it's like second nature to me.
Yeah. So let me see if I understand. So Lilydale is a religion? as well as the place?
Lilydale is a village
Right.
where you have to be you have to belong to a spiritualist denomination in order to live there.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like a a closed community
Sure.
almost. That's the
Got
best way to describe it.
And you are a part of all of that.
I am a part on the outside looking in.
Okay.
You have to be if you want to do readings and stuff there and charge money, you have to be a registered medium, which I've been asked several times to go for the testing and that. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, what I like, and again, I mean, I've been asked many times to teach there, but what I like to do is I like to leave that in my back pocket. That's a little place where I can go and I can just relax.
Yeah.
I like going there, and if I can go and serve at one of the galleries, which is they allow student mediums and unregistered mediums to serve that. I love doing that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really like to go there just to. It's a whole different vibe. You can go there and it's just like I go there and it's like it's like going home.
It's that saying, you don't shit where you eat.
Well, that's
Right?
what a lot of it. That's a true statement. There really is a true statement. Too many people. What happens is too many people get so involved in like the politics and the social aspects of even and even the paranormal. But religions can be a little iffy. They can be you have to really tread easy. I love being on the outside looking in. I just like when I show up, people are happy to see me, and then I go home. That's the way it is.
So you get involved with it. So I'm correct when I say this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your parents were very supportive of your journey. They didn't really give you any backlash, or they did?
No, none. My mother taught me how to first actually use a pendulum, dowsing. With a needle and thread over the top of a palm, and she learned it. That was how they used to. That's how they used to go and discover the sex of an unborn child. They would put it over the future mom's palm,
yes.
and it was yes or no, girl, boy, and I mean she's the one that taught me how to do that. I mean I used the Ouija board with her. My father worked second shift, so he didn't know what the hell was going on. He was just, you know what? Listen, my crazy kid's quiet. I'm happy.
Hey, it could have been worse. I mean, a lot of kids. It's always fascinates me because of how passionate I am, right? How I am with the field and doing paranormal and everything. How passionate I am about it. When I was younger, I wanted nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? I was afraid of it. I had no interest. Like I had interest in it, but I did not want to be a part of it. I just read the scary books, watch the scary movies, and pretend like that was what it was, So it always fascinates me when you 9 years old, like at 9, most boys are playing with GI Joes and Matchbox cars and, stuff like that. Like it wasn't, or
and I did. I did. But you know what? If this was,
but it's interesting though to have that. You have to have a certain mentality and your mind has to be mature to be able to
wait a minute. Let's just go and put this right out there. My mind will never be mature. I'm sick. Listen, I'm going to be 67 in a couple months. You know what? Man brain, it's never going to be mature. Oh, look, something bright. I'm going to go over and look at it. That's the way I am.
Right. No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, what 9-year-old do you know nowadays that would have that thought process, that mentality, that whatever, to look into the metaphysical side of stuff or like the spiritual side of stuff and hang out in a place like Lilydale? Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I got kind of special treatment. I'm not going to lie about it. Because my voice, I've had quite a few surgeries. So my voice is not even as hoarse or as deep. It's a little bit more hoarser and it's not as loud as it used to be. And so I was chosen to be trained as a gallery worker. And galleries, that's all part of the religious service to bring messages to, the people, to serve the pulpit. That's what you did. And most churches did not have, at that time, any kind of amplification. So you had to train your voice to project to the back of the room, to the back. And we used to go to a place called the Inspiration Stump at Lilydale, and it's a concrete stump that they used to stand on, and they used to do inspirational speaking and that sort of thing there. And the teachers would sit way in the back, and it fits probably about 200 people or more. And you had to go and project your voice to the last row so that they could hear you. So my voice was rather loud, so I got a little bit more special attention, more special education to do that. And because I was doing that, some of the instructors took the extra time to invite me to do children's seances. They used to do children's seance, and that was to really get us ready for physical phenomena when when we go and something happens, so you're not freaked out about it. So
Right.
that's all it was. And it was done during daylight, and it was bright in there, so it just to get you used to it. So I started doing those probably about 13, 14 years old. And I'll be honest with you, I went hard and heavy till about 18, 19, even 20. But I mean, it was disco, so it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I mean, I I lived a life pretty good. And then let's see, I got married at 25. In probably by like probably like the year after that, I really dedicated myself to the religion and what would and everything that was going on with it. And then one thing led to another. I know, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Was not into paranormal investigating at all. I love the religion. Could care less. And there were people still doing it back then.
Right.
It was just different, but I mean, it's the same thing. Spirit rescue circles and doing the house cleansings and stuff. I was never really into that. And I came back to everything because I had an interest in healing, and I took a lot of Reiki. Reiki master teacher, so I went and I took a lot of classes, and I dedicated a lot of time to that, and it all just came back. Next thing you know, everything started rolling in, and it's like synchronicity. It's one thing led to another, and then back then there was like 3 paranormal networks, I think, at the time, and these 2 crazy brothers from Kentucky asked me. I used to listen to their podcast, and I'd get on and go and get into their chat rooms and start talking. And they asked me if I wanted to have a show, and then the rest is history. We went from there to CBS for a few years, and then came back to the internet, and then
And what
I've
was
been
the
going
show?
strong just about ever since. And I'm still chugging out there doing everything.
What was the show?
My show is the Black Cat Lounge. It
No,
started
no, no,
off
the show that you were talking about.
on CBS.
Yeah,
We went and we did the Psychics Next Door.
the Psychics Next Door. Okay.
We had
I
the
just
Psychics. Yeah, we did the Psychics Next Door with Michelle Hall, and it was like a call-in reading show, and we had interviews and stuff. And then, of course, my the Black Cat Lounge was also simulcast on Mondays. So we were doing Monday and Tuesdays.
Oh, awesome. That's cool.
That's
So
back in the day.
back in the day. I love it. And then so you threw in there 25, you got married. Was wifey into this, or did you was
my
it just,
my wife is like a third generation here, and she was exposed to a lot of the old folkways as a kid. She had an aunt in what they call in Boston, New York, not too far away from where we are here, and she lived on a farm, and she was heavy into the old ways. So, my wife, it's just natural. And then, to be honest with you, I used to take her when we were dating. I used to take her to Lilydale, and she thought it was, okay. And she knew I was into it, and she knew I was like part of my religion and stuff. But as she likes to tell her friends, I knew he was into it, but I didn't know how deep he was into it.
right?
Because I mean, I really, I never did readings. I never, that's not what I did when, for a few years until
Yeah,
I came back to it hardcore.
yeah. So what made you come back to it hardcore? Did something happen? Were you like,
We were able to do alternative healing methods on cancer patients. And I was working with one, and this name came through, and it was like, I think the name that came through was Ellen. And she said, and what it came through was, I've gone through it. You'll be fine. It's a long road. Be patient. And I was like, should I say anything? I don't know. And so at the end of the Reiki session, I said, I don't know if you're open to it, but I did get a message that came through, like an energetic message. If you want it, fine. If you don't, you won't offend me. And she looked at me and she goes, well, yeah. And I said, and I said the name and everything, and she got kind of white, and she said, that's my friend Ellen, who passed away from breast cancer. And I believe that's what she was being treated for. So at that point, I realized that, maybe I should work in it a little bit more and see where it takes me. And
Yeah, if you're somebody that loves to help people, being in this field, you can help people on so many different levels.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and you got to watch yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
See, you know what I was taught. Now, this is the way I was taught. Now, because I'm going to get flack. Prepare to get emails for this one. But I was brought up in an old way where, you did as much as you possibly could for donations. You didn't ask. There was no, the only people that really did readings were people who were retired or, were like, full-time, ministers and that sort of thing. And so we were kind of expected to be of service. That was the way we were always taught, to be of service. And, one thing led to another, and then it's kind of a crapshoot. And that's one of the reasons why, time is energy, and there's an exchange of energy. I understand that. But I always get people really pissed off at me at events, because maybe I'll do four readings at an event, 5 readings, depending how tired I am from traveling or whatever. And if I get a crisis reading where somebody really needs to talk, or somebody needs whatever, I clear my slate. I'll stay as long. I don't care if it's 2-3 hours. I don't care. I will never charge for a crisis reading. And that's I do that, and I just want to, it's all part of it. But then on the other hand, if I'm going and raising money for something, that's a different story. Absolutely. Or if we're just, if it's just for like entertainment only, or you're just going out there, I'll go and I'll do a block of 5 readings and then go home. But this is not anything that has ever been paramount in my life, that part of it.
Right.
Because I've been blessed. I had a town job for 34 and a half years. I retired early after 34 and a half years at 58. I get a pension and I get Social Security. I'm blessed. And, anything else I do, that's fine. And I don't make a lot of money. I don't, doing this, I don't care. The appearances, I've been blessed by getting to know great people and then getting put on TV and that. And, but I'm one of those people that it's like, when the contract comes in, well, what are your rates? I don't care. Whatever you want to pay me. You know what? Well, if you want to pay me lunch and put me up in a hotel, I'm very happy about that. That's the way I work.
Well, you give back. You give back to what you've been given, and that's the big thing. That's why you've been around for so long. I think the people that give back to give back to what they've been given, they don't forget where they came from. They're honest, they're true, they're legit. People that aren't going to, basically, use this platform, to just make money. You're in this to help people. So
exactly, and that's why I don't do. At one time, don't get me wrong. Hey, how are you? I will see him in Virginia in June. At one time, I did like 34 talks and events a year, and that was like insane. Now, if I do 20 a year, that's small talks and then larger events. That's more than enough, and I've cut way back, and I really have. It's
Yeah.
and you have to go and you have to make sure that and Dale, my buddy Dale Quigley, he will work for pizza. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. If it's a good lunch, I'll be there. But I think a lot of it is that you need to have some kind of enjoyment out of it.
Yes.
And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, and money puts pressure on you, it's not worth doing. I worked for a radio psychic for a number of years, part time, just something to do on a Sunday night. And she needed money, and she was always hammering for money, and she was always. And I saw how she used to go and put people on the line and reel them in, and I didn't think that was right. I mean, you don't do that. I mean, I don't. Somebody comes to me for a reading, and like they want another reading like in 3 months. I'm like, why? Why? Nothing's changed. Go, I'll see you in a year or 6 months or whatever. I'm not mercenary like that. And I that's part of the way I was brought up, not to be mercenary.
Do you find though that some people will come because they're looking for a connection with a loved one?
Yes,
As opposed to,
again, that's a little different.
yeah,
That's a little different if they need that connection. And I'll come right out and tell you. Sometimes, sometimes I can feel something that comes through and it will resonate. Sometimes it doesn't. And I'm always honest with it. I'm always honest with people,
yeah,
and if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't, I can't bring it through, because I can't read for everybody in a 100% bullseye capacity.
right. Nobody can.
Well, nobody can. But I mean,
I don't care what anybody says.
the idea is that I do the best I can. And that kind of, when we start looking into something that it's that poignant, that targeted, I think we should go into like a seance or something of that nature in order to go and really sit down and be focused on it. Either, even not a seance, let's just even say a hardcore vigil where you have other family members and, they're getting together for it. So, yeah. I mean, that's the way that's the way I look at it, because everybody, you can't pull everybody in, in that way, because sometimes everybody's got free will. The other side's got free will too, the energetic side. Maybe they don't want to go and talk to this person. Maybe they're not ready to talk to this person yet. Maybe they don't feel right. Maybe they are ashamed of something. Maybe they, don't want to cause more sorrow or whatever. There's 1,001 reasons.
Right.
And I'm not going to go and I'm not going to say I'm bringing this person in if I don't feel that way.
Right.
I mean, you have to be honest with it, because karma's a bitch. And boy, I'll tell you what, karma will come back and bite you in the ass quicker than you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like I've seen it time and time again. 20 years I've been doing this, and I've been with so many different people and had, falling out with people and watching, and you watch them, and they start out great, and then money becomes the priority.
Yes.
Money becomes the priority. Not so much they forget what they're doing, why they're here, how they got there, and then money becomes a priority, and then it goes, pew, and then it's like they're.
And it's not just money. It's ego. It's fame.
Yeah.
I mean, sure. That's huge. That's huge.
I want to say something, because a lot of people forget TV means television, like on TV. TV does not mean YouTube.
I know.
It's not YouTube, and it's not Netflix. I mean, like TV is television, like actual television, because people throw TV around like it's, they go, oh, we're on a TV series. What channel? Like. It's not TV. It's just say you're on a YouTube series, YouTube thing, documentary, whatever. But people throw TV around like it's, like it's like YouTube. Anyway,
but I mean, when I first got picked up, I mean, I had done a few things before the paranormal stuff started to pick up. When I got picked up for Ghost Lab, it was like, my friends thought it was great. To me, it was fun to do, it was no big deal, but it was great to do it. I got a chance to meet and work with the Kling brothers, who I still work with now.
Which I love that show, and I love both of them to death.
They are great. They're great guys.
I love, yeah.
But the hate I got from people back then shocked me. Absolutely shocked me. The hate and the jealousy and all that. And I thought, why? first of all, you're not going to get rich. You're not going to get rich doing any of this stuff on TV. You're really not. The pioneer guys, I mean, that's a whole different story. But not, as time went on, you really don't make a lot of money with it, and it's a lot of work, and people aren't ready for that. So I guess I never went and latched my ego to a star like that, because it's just because what it is, it's just, to me, it's a great experience. I got a chance to work with Jack Osborne and my friend Kat, Weedman. I love her. I've known her for years, and I worked 3 times with Jack. And you know what? We talk about snowblowers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's no big deal. And, to me, people want people to see them in a restaurant and point and say hi. I mean, with me, it's like, whatever, that's cool. I mean, I've had it happen, but it's like, I'm just like hanging out. That's the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Like, for me, it's my dream job to do paranormal and be paid for it, right? Like, I'm not knocking anybody that makes money off of what they do, but when it becomes your motivation over,
that's where you have problems,
right? Yeah. I would love to quit my job, and I don't mean that I would never, Dr. Mike, if you watch, I don't mean I would quit. I'm just saying. I would love, for it to be my full-time job, but it would never be my driving force. Money will never be. Therefore, because my integrity is the most important thing to me. So nobody could ever tell me, like, I got to do this, I got to do that. I would never step on my friends to get anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I would, my integrity means more to me than money.
And that's the way it should be. And you know what? And the whole fame thing, it's what it is. I love, what? I don't have fans. I have friends.
Yeah.
And that's the way I always treat them. That's the way I think of everybody.
I'm a fan.
You're a friend.
I know.
You're a friend.
I am a friend. I know. But I am a fan, which is, I'm so happy that you're on.
But, it's just fun to do that. It's just fun. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep, you got to keep everything in perspective. And again, with me, I mean, I was an asphalt concrete guy. Used to cut trees, that sort of stuff, plowed snow in the winter. That always kept me grounded, because I always knew that at the end of the rainbow, I'm always going to have to go back and do that.
Right.
So whenever I got picked up, to go for a series, or like we'd go out and we'd film a pilot or something, I always understood that is what I was going to go back to. And I think that really kept me grounded. Plus, on top of it, I was taught by the blue hairs. I was taught by the old time spiritualists, and they were just nasty. They're the ones that used to go to church. You couldn't have, women could have to wear a dress or a skirt. The hem had to be right above the ankle. Guys had to have a suit coat on at least. So, I mean, they were a lot stricter. It was a whole different vibe back then. So, I mean, when they, talk to you, it was like a lot of respect. So you kind of have to go, and you have to, always keep that ego in check. And you always have to respectful of what you're doing and the people that you're working with. And, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And you can't forget where you came from and why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I still would, unfortunately, not a lot of private houses come my way anymore. You know what I mean? But private cases were like my most favorite thing. I loved helping.
As a matter of fact, I get a lot of them, but most of them are for cleansing or whatever. And I have a couple smaller teams that are interested in doing them. So I pass them on to them for the most part, because it's just the fact that, if they do run into problems, I'm there. Right. If they need, suggestion or two someplace, that's fine. I'm there. It's great for them to have the experience. When I was starting off for paranormal and doing cleansings, that was like the Wild West back then. That was great. There was you couldn't walk down the street without somebody having a haunting or something going on in a house.
True.
Yeah, so it was crazy. I got a lot of education to doing that, and then going in, then then meeting guys like Johnny Zaffis and Adam Bly and some really great people. I learned how to cope with different things and how the mechanics of different hauntings work and what to look for, and slowly but surely, you kind of just hone a skill. And I'm just glad that I could do that back then.
Is that how
Now,
is that how you got into how you kind of how you got into the paranormal as well? Like you started out doing the cleansings and you're like, oh, this
right.
is okay.
Spirit rescue circles. The mediums would go and they would ask me to be a part of it. You'd go to somebody's house that would be allegedly haunted, and something was going on in there, and it would be the circle's job to figure out who and why they're there, and then to try to convince that spirit, the energetic personality, to go on to release itself. And I mean, between all that, I got a really great sense. And then, of course, I mean, we didn't have fancy gizmos. I still have cassettes in my collection. I almost died the other day. I found these cassettes that of like different sessions we've done and like old EVPs that we caught on cassette tape.
Awesome. I want to bring that back. Actually, I've been thinking about bringing a cassette recorder with me to an investigation and seeing.
I have.
I want to do it. That's my.
It's great. It's great. And the best part about it is you can get them sometimes you can get them at Goodwill for like $5, the cassettes, or the cassette recorders. And, just go on Amazon and you can get fresh cassettes. And I believe that I think it's something to do just with the tape itself. Because I used to use micro cassettes.
Yeah.
And I used to get a lot of EVP work from there. So I think that's great.
Yeah. I would love to. I don't want to. Let me see something. Kim has a question really quick before we get into. I want to talk a little bit. Is Tim willing to come back and do some mini live readings? I'm in and reserving my spot.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
And I do. And just to let you know, every so often I get lazy on my show. And by lazy, I mean I'm not going and booking anybody. I just don't feel like it. So what I will do is I will do card readings. I'll just pull a card out and I read a little bit differently from cards. I knew the late Ray Buckland really well, and Buck showed me how to because I'm very dyslexic, and to read a book is like ridiculous trying to figure out these little books and stuff. So he taught me how to look at the card, interpret the card, and then spread the information about across where I can go and I can actually put it into some kind of words to convey it out. And I use them as focal points. So it's I can do it like that. And most times when I'm doing the readings, all of a sudden somebody might be knocking on the top of my head to say hi or or to say something else. So yeah, I could come back.
Yeah.
For you, kid, I would do it. You know what I mean?
Yay.
For you, kid, you're a good egg. I like you.
Thank you. You are too. I love you. I think you're awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about that too, but I also want to ask you. All right. So, well, first I'll ask you this since we are talking about it. So, do you yourself ever have people like your family or loved ones or people like that have passed that come back to talk to you? Or
never?
Really, that's so interesting to me. I ask everybody
never.
that. Because,
never. As a matter of fact, I went for a healing about a month and a half ago, and I go for a healing. I've had a lot of bladder surgeries and all sorts of craziness and all that, and all of a sudden it was like the woman who's doing the healing on me talked about a man and a woman and described the personalities of my mom and dad. It's the first time I had any of that done ever.
Wow.
Ever. So, I mean, I get nothing for me from anywhere else. Usually I get my, apparently my grandfather would supposedly have come through to me, and his brother, my great uncle, said to me, I don't know if that was your grandfather. And I said, why? He goes, because your grandfather would have been talking about whores and horses, not not like flowery stuff. I always remember that. He was a great card reader. He was an old timer. So you got to keep a lot of that with a grain of salt. But no, I've never had my own family come through to me.
That's interesting. I love that question for people that, because I mean, sometimes people will say, yeah, but it always goes back to what, like, because my dad passed in 2000. So when I started getting into this was after that. And before that I was afraid of it, so I want nothing to do with it. So I remember, like, out loud talking to him, like, Dad, I'm not scared anymore. Cause you always hear all kinds of theories as to why,
Yep.
right? Either you're trying too hard, or, they know you're afraid. So they don't want to scare you.
Yeah. They won't come back. Yeah.
All kinds of stuff, right? You always hear. So I remember, like, all the time, like, and when I look back now, he has given me some of the biggest signs and concrete shit that he is still with me, but I've never seen him. I've never, nothing like that, which is one of the things that I wish I could do, but I did what felt good in my heart was that it was traumatic, his passing, and 12 years of therapy. Like, it was brutal. Right. So I always say to myself, I'm like, all right, for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't connect with him, or wouldn't even, since I was now open to this, but I was like, the only thing I could come up with, and actually made my heart feel a lot better, was that he knows that if he were to show himself and then go away, it would be like losing him all over again. And it would
big time.
It would shoot me back. So I think he's still protecting me. By
I mean, here's the thing. You know what? I separate a lot from the traditionalist form of spiritualism. I'm not into, like, the Summerland, heaven or hell, or any of that stuff. I'm not into, like, the personification of energetic personalities. I believe that they're energy. I believe it's pure knowledge. I believe the personality will continue only on to a certain point, and then it dissolves and becomes part of becomes part of the everything, part of the universe, or whatever. And I think what people don't realize is that our own makeup is part of them. Right. And that means that they're always with us.
Yeah.
It's just not our DNA or anything like that. It's the energetic makeup. And that's just my belief in it. So, and I think that makes a big difference. I think because once you realize that they're always with you. They may not be doing the heavy contact work. They may not be, like, hitting you in the back of the head saying, "Hey, stupid, don't do that." But they're there. And that's what's important. That's what's really important, is that belief. And to be honest with you, I feel that is what makes them happy, and I know that it makes me content.
Yeah. Now, if you had to choose one path or the other, the spiritual, readings and this and that, or paranormal investigating?
It would, to be honest with you, I don't even care about the readings. I would follow the spiritualist path.
Mm-hmm.
Paranormal is a lot of guesswork, and don't get me wrong, I love gizmos, man. I am a guy, so it's like if it buzzes and it makes, like, pretty noises and like, lights up, I think I love that. But I mean, the bottom line is that, I mean, I really, at this stage of the game, the belief is far more important than anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're not trying to prove it to anybody, you know
what? I was told long ago, spiritualism is a religion of conviction, not conversion. So that just means you got to find it by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that it's, as I grew and, learned through this whole thing, I started to realize how, even though is under the same umbrella, They are very different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you just people automatically think that if you're a psychic medium, you're also a paranormal investigator. Or if you're a paranormal investigator, you can see dead people, you know, and
Yeah.
it's not how it works, you know. I couldn't do that, you know. I can't. I'm not a psychic medium, you know. I am an investigator, a researcher, you know, or ghost hunter, whatever you want to call me, you know. But you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge misconception. It's even the psychic medium is a misconception because psychics work within the human atmosphere, or there's prediction, retrocognition, that sort of stuff, and then mediumship is all of that plus the two-way communication.
right.
And where that came from, you were either a psychic or a medium back in the day.
Mhm.
Now you're a psychic medium because so many people did not want to go to mediums because they were afraid to get Uncle Joe who had a bone of contention with you. So you would go to a psychic, so this way you didn't have to worry about working with the dead personality.
Right,
So,
right,
but then as time went on, psychic medium became a somewhat safer term, and
right,
and that's just the way it works. And you know what? And paranormal, I think paranormal helps a lot. And I think paranormal and I mean, you, let's face it. I mean, in anything we do, paranormal, spiritualism, it's all belief. It's a
yeah,
belief system because there's not enough evidence. And again, that's where I kind of draw the line because one of the dogmas in the spiritualist religion is that spiritualism is a science proven by mediumship. I can't buy into that because
mhm,
I don't believe it's a science. It's not
right,
because science is exact.
right,
Science is repeatable. And I don't believe that in spiritualism or in the paranormal world, everything is repeatable.
uh-huh. I
So
agree.
that's where I kind of draw the line.
I agree. I agree with you. I asked this question. I don't know if it's the right question to ask, but you know, with a lot of the people out there that are skeptics and science based and this and that, you know, it's like if it's like spiritual, religious, and belief, how can any science prove it? You know what
Exactly.
I mean? How can science prove something like that? You
Well,
know, or
I
disprove it?
Neil deGrasse Tyson had I believe that's his last name. I can never remember how to say his name, but he had a really great take on it. Somebody asked him, "What's it like after you die?" And he said, "It's the same as before you're born. Nothingness. There's nothing. You're
Mhm.
just nothing." And he's like, "Well, what about religions?" He goes, "Here's the thing: a belief system is one thing. Science is another thing. There's nothing wrong with having a belief in both." And
Right.
I'm a firm believer in that. I really am, because some stuff. The biggest problem I have with paranormal investigators is someone farts in the room and it's demonic. That's
Terrible.
it's a little, people get a little carried away. But on the other hand, with spiritual, or like not just psychics and spiritualists and people who are more into that new age type of mentality, somebody can turn around and just give you a cold reading or just make something up, and you'll be able to pick enough out of it so that it pertains to you,
Right.
so that they want that reading so badly.
Right.
So I mean, it's a two-way highway on both sides. So you have to be able to go, and you have to, that's why I just say it's part of my faith, and it's all within the realm of belief.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And that's the thing. Like that's why it's so hard. I mean, I'm a healthy skeptic or a healthy believer, whichever
Mhm.
you know. I don't think everything is paranormal by all means. I also don't think everything that happens is demonic. I really think that that's really rare. Some people would say I'm
Let me just, I got a quick story for that one.
go ahead.
The problem that I run into with that is the fact that if you're looking for demons, you're going to find them. You're going to find them, whether they're there or they're in your imagination, right? So people don't realize that these energetic personalities can turn around and sucker you in. Just because they're energetic personalities does not mean that they're nice people. They were nice. They weren't probably nice people when they were alive. They
Right.
suck now. So what they're trying to do is they become parasitical, and they just keep kind of, playing you. I know people who are self-taught demonologists or exorcists or whatever we want to call them, and they will go and they will just, you have 2 demons with you. I'll leave them up. I'll make sure that they won't bother you. I'll put them out by the door. Okay. And the problem becomes that they will affect a person's self-fulfilling prophecy by telling somebody that negative, that they have a demon with them. That works on a mind of someone who may really, need help or have a belief system where it is active. And now you are going to be finding demons and negativity wherever you go.
Right.
That's reprehensible. And I mean, again, I don't believe in angels. I don't believe in demons. I believe in some nasty, energetic personalities. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I just got knocked down by one a couple weeks ago. These things happen. But people have to understand that the words that come out of your mouth, and that's paranormal investigators and religious clergy and spiritualists and readers or whatever, what comes out of your mouth will have a profound effect on some people. So you need to be careful how you state things and how you word things. One of my mentors always said, never end the reading on a negative note. Never. Always empower. That's what these readings are supposed to be for. To help that person. They're there for a question or whatever, and empower them so they become a better human being.
Yeah.
Never go and play upon that self-fulfilling prophecy, because you're going to get it. And what happens is the fact that, and I know people that have repeated, they've done this, karma's got them, knocked them down. They come out, they do the same thing that gets knocked down. They do the same thing again. It's just a bad roll, and people find that, and you have to be able to go and be accountable for your words.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this whole thing about demons and angels. Okay, I was never brought up with demons and angels except in the parochial schools, and that never made any sense to me, because if God made perfection, if God was perfection, God loved us. Well, why did he send these fallen angels to hell? Because of a sin. Why was he not forgiving them? Because he forgives. Christians forgive. God forgives.
Right.
Why? I don't understand that. And the spiritualist religion just doesn't teach it. And this vibratory sense of good and evil in the personality themselves made such sense to me. And that's what always has resonated with me. And people need to understand that, words can heal and words can kill. And people need to understand that. And you have to be responsible.
Absolutely. And that's great that you bring that up, because I'm not saying this to upset anybody that watches this show, but the one show that I cannot watch because of the way they handle the clients is Dead Files. I don't like when they go there. Yeah, I mean, and literally these people are left crying. And everything is so bad. And it just.
But back up a little bit. Bad sells commercial time. Commercial time keeps the show on the rails. Now, as someone who's worked in reality TV, I understand that the show must go on. The producer has a script of all the shots that they need. Then they're going to go and they're going to put you into different situations where they're going to be able to go and pull something out. And don't think that the ending, it's like, well, maybe we should pop that a little bit. Let's go and edit it in this way and that way.
Sure. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a huge game. And I mean, I don't belittle people for thinking like that and producing stuff like that. But people on the other side have to understand that are watching this, that it's a form of entertainment.
And a lot of people don't.
No, they
A
don't.
lot of people don't.
Unfortunately, people
Right.
come up to me at like my I do, like, I love doing free library talks. I love that, and I've been speaking at senior centers. It's a riot. I mean, I get a packed house at these senior centers. It's great, and we talk about that, and people don't realize it. They're like, really, what we see isn't true? It's true up to a point, but it's kind of slanted, and it's made to pop.
Yeah.
So, and if it pops, it sells.
Right. That's true. I mean, on one hand, though, you have ghost hunters who never went down that route, and look how long they were around on TV, and you know what I mean. And then, so I think a lot of people that grew up watching ghost hunters probably investigate like ghost hunters, and this is these are all terms being used loosely. And then the people that started watching Ghost Adventures started to investigate like Ghost Adventures. So now here you have all the YouTubers that are everywhere they go. It's it's that jump scare and it's demons and this and that, because that's what they watched, Ghost Adventures. You know what I mean? And that's what they saw. That's what they and that's what they think it's like and what it's supposed to be, or that's how you make money, right? But that's just was my assessment of watching.
I am probably the most boring paranormal investigator that you can get, because this is the way it works. If you want me to do a walkthrough of the location, I'll do it. I'll take a recorder. I'll record what I'm feeling. I'll give you the SD card. I'm in my bed by midnight. I'm happy. I'm sleeping. You go and do your thing. If you want me to be a paranormal investigator, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just work with the stuff and see what we're getting. And maybe I'll get a feeling or something and I'll say, well, I'm a little uneasy here or whatever, but I'm not open. I'm not, I kind of ignore a lot of that. And that's the way I teach, like, my mediums, my students, to kind of break that up. So you're not part of both. And people,
how do you turn, so when you investigate, do you turn off the
I ignore it.
But do you don't use that as like a tool to kind of help with the investigation?
Not unless I'm asked. And that's one of my rules. If you don't ask me to do it, I'm not going to do it. If you ask me to do it, I'm either going to do that, but not investigate.
Right.
I draw a line there. And the reason is because I don't think that you can do a good job if you're doing both. I believe that as a medium, I'm going to be doing that 100%. I want to give my 100% attention to that, my focus to that.
Right.
If I'm doing paranormal investigating, I want to be able to go and kind of try to think outside the box, try to work with other teammates, try to go and let's work as a team. Let's see if we can get some kind of questioning going. Let's try to get two-way communication going. Is there a place in this location that may be a little bit, more energetic than other places? Are we getting more responses there? I don't want to confuse the two.
Right.
And very seldom, very, very seldom will your psychic impressions and your paranormal responses really sync up. Right. There's only been a few times where, we've had like everything go off. Matter of fact, I was filming. We were filming on the USS Edson in Bay City, Michigan, for Haunted Saginaw, and that thing, it just lit right up. It just lit up. Everything, every tool there, it was like it just turned on. And we got a lot of interaction. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, two of the volunteers, something kind of walked through the two of them. The way, they were just like unhinged the way it happened. But for the most part, they don't sync up. Or else then sometimes you get like some psychics, some mediums and psychics who are kind of embarrassed that they're not getting something, or they're not, so they're going to agree with whatever the the meters may be saying. So you have to, that's why I like to do just one or the other. And as for like I don't turn anything off, I ignore it. I've done this for so long that if you don't learn to ignore it, it's the worst thing in the world. You're walking around, you're getting all these impressions, you're getting vibrations. Very, I mean, it becomes distracting.
Yeah.
And I don't like to do that.
Like, I know, I don't know.
You don't want that. You want to live the way I was taught is you want to live a normal life. What you do for a living is your life.
Right.
Spiritualism, the religion, paranormal, everything else is an addition to your life. It's a very meaningful addition to your life. But it must stay as an addition to your life because you are a human being. You need to be as normal as possible, interact in a social manner with people, to be able to have friends, to be able to go out shopping. Again, the radio psychic, she's passed on now, but she couldn't go to a restaurant because she was overwhelmed. She couldn't go shopping except at night because she was overwhelmed with everything. She was like housebound during the day because she was just too overwhelmed. I don't want to live like that. I mean,
right.
But that's in a truly extreme case. And I learned early on from the old teachers that you've got to have that focus. You got to be able to ignore it. You got to be able to just keep walking through and just whatever and keep going.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. I love your podcast too. I want you to just, I know we're running out of time, but if you can just talk a little bit about the Black Cat Lounge, where people can find you. And do you have anything coming up? Are you going to be anywhere? Are you going to any of the events or anything? Or are you just kind of chilling?
I'm going to be, I'll be in Toledo in April. I can't wait for that because that's my first time there. And I heard some great things about it. So that's going to be fun. I'll be at Psychon, I think it's called, Mansfield Reformatory, which I love. We did a reenactment of a prisoner going into solitaire,
Oh, cool.
where the air was blowing out of the cell. My friend Frank was the prisoner, who was a retired CO, and he was as real as they can be. And the cold air blowing out at us was incredible. And over the scanners, it would say things like "kill him." How many people are here? 20. All sorts of things, calling him a bitch and a punk. Wow. And all this stuff. I mean, it was interesting. It was really I believe the temperature dropped about 15 solid degrees when we were in there. It was like a bubble. So that was great. Oh. Locally, April 11th, I believe it is. I'm going to do some readings. I'm going to do I got 5 slots open at my friend's store. It's called Dragonfly Art and Soul in Williamsville, New York. And the Black Cat Lounge is heard every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And you know where you can find it? On my Facebook page. So just go look for me and I'm there. And I just want to warn everybody, I have a dead Facebook page that reactivated by magic. I have no idea how it did it.
Really?
So, yeah, I have no idea. Look for the Facebook page where my wife and I are in the little bubble. That's how you know it's me. That's how you know it's me.
Oh, that's awesome. So that's awesome. And me and the Peaches, we're going to be, where we go? We're going to, I always say this wrong, Sweet Estates.
Sweet Estates.
Is that in upstate New York? We'll be there.
Yes.
That state, April like 12th, 11th, 12th, 13th, something like that. And so that'll be the first time that we're going to be up somewhere up. That's like 7 hours from me, I think, or 6.5 hours from me. So,
well, if you're ever get into the Buffalo, New York area, Lockport, New York area, Niagara County, and Frank Roberts in the room, but
yes,
they do they work out of the Western Block in Lockport, New York. It's Art 247, and it's got some really great stuff going in there. And that's where I got knocked to the ground. It was great. It was an amazing experience. So if you're ever up this way, geez, let us know. And I'm sure that we can go and get you in there whenever, you're tramping around. Plus, if you're not doing anything else, you can go to Niagara Falls, go to the casino, hang out.
Yeah. Frank keeps saying, I know, he said, we're waiting for you to come to Niagara's Western Block. And yeah, I don't know how close New York is really big. I learned. So
you're about 2 hours away from the sweet home. You're about good. You're about 2 hours south of us.
Okay. Yeah. I was telling Frank, which is weird. When I met Frank, my family, my mother's side is from Italy, and they came over to Ellis Island, and they started our roots in Depew, New York. And so
where I live right now.
Yeah, Depew. Yep. And my great grandfather opened up a hair salon there, which turned into 3 or 4 hair salons, and he opened up a beauty school, a salon school. And then all the salons started to trickle down, and eventually he landed in Jersey, and that's where I'm at now. But they started in Depew. So I I love that area. Excuse me. But it is far.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh, I have something in my sorry, excuse me.
Tis the season. Tis the season, kid.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome.
Thank you for asking me. You know what? Because I think you guys are excellent. You guys are really great people. And it's just so nice that you asked me to come on and just chew the fat on a Sunday night.
Yeah. And we will have to have you on again. If you're ever up to it. I won't put you on the spot, but a lot of people are asking about, doing live readings, but hey, I won't.
You know what? I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't do it all the time. I do it on my show once in a while, but for you, let me know. Just let me know in advance, and maybe we'll pull cards. We'll do something.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. We could just do a couple, we could just do a couple, and that's it. We don't have to, make it like the whole time, but yeah, definitely that would be awesome. We'll definitely set that up. And everybody is saying, hey.
and I'll be in Gettysburg. You're from one of your favorite places in when I'm going to be there. I can't even remember now.
Are you going for the bash?
I'm not going to go for the bash. Oh, I know what I'm going to be I'm stopping. I got to stop there in April, but I'm looking at something I don't have it. I don't have the contract signed yet, but hopefully something in August will come up, because Gettysburg is one of my favorite places to hang out. As you can tell this is part of my collection behind me.
Yeah, no, I was looking at all your stuff. I have a Gettysburg room. So I have a whole bunch of stuff upstairs in my Gettysburg room, but you'll have to keep me. I want to know when you'll be in Gettysburg. I'll definitely would love to maybe come out and hang out and maybe do some little bit of investigating or something.
Listen, I'll give you the 50-cent tour. I know I've walked the entire battlefield.
That's awesome.
And my great-great-grandfather fought there. His brother was killed there in the wheat field. So there's a big, heavy, family presence there. And I know a couple spots that
awesome.
They have a little something going on.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. I love Dustin, he's the one that put on the Civil War reenactment this last year.
Hey, Dustin, how are you? I used to come down for the Civil War reenactment since 125th. Went through 125th to the 130th or 135th. I can't remember how many years I was down there for it.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're coming to Gettysburg, the Peaches will come with me. Like we could just come out there and make it Tim and his Peaches.
I don't know. I think there was a movie like that one, so we will just walk away from that one.
Thank you so much, Tim, for coming on. I love you, and I'll definitely want to make it out when you come to Gettysburg, and hopefully one day we can make it up there and hang out with you and Frank, and you know what I mean, check out some of those cool spots up there.
I think we'll take you on the tour. We'll take you on the tour.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. I love you. You stay safe.
You too.
And I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you for bringing me on.
Oh my God. Anytime, please. Anytime. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This was an awesome Sunday. Thank you guys for joining me. I was so happy to have him on. Make sure Wednesday you check out. I have Soul Sister Supernatural coming on. Those 3 women are beautiful, amazing, and they've done a lot of stuff. So make sure you come back on Wednesday, 8:30. Thank you, everybody, for checking us out. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. We had Indonesia, Ajing. Thank you. We had somebody from England on. I mean, there was people from all over. So thank you so much, guys. And make sure you go check out Tim Shaw, Black Hat Lounge, and follow him on Facebook, all that good stuff. Till next time, love y'all.